Hello, dreamers. I am back inviting you to explore with me the recesses of my private unconscious. So, my dream tonight is quite short, but I think there's a lot in it. So, here's the dream. I was driving alone in a car along a relatively busy road at night. Suddenly, a blinding, bright, white light came from up ahead of me, encompassing everything, although I was still able to see some of the road and other cars for a small distance, and I felt like the light both did and didn't seem to touch me. I pulled over to the median since I was already on the far left lane, and it was easy for me to do. And the cars weren't going very fast. So I got out of the car to assess the situation further. I was kind of just standing looking in the distance. And I reflected that other people should probably pull over and do the same because it wasn't super safe to drive with this blinding light. So I was worried about others. Then I woke up, but I still saw this bright white light with my eyes closed. It lasted for about 10 seconds. I just breathed and tried to stay calm and knew it would pass, and it did. So, driving alone at night. As we mentioned in the past, driving a car is a metaphor for how we are navigating life, symbolizing our path, our autonomy, our sense of control. Like, are you driving? Are you driving other people? Are you in the passenger seat? So driving alone suggests that we are on a personal journey. We might be facing decisions and challenges independently, and the road represents our life path. So the fact that it's night adds sort of a unconscious layer to that. Night represents a time when things are not fully seen or understood. It might symbolize aspects of life that are hidden from view. So the blinding bright light, that I'm going to say could symbolize illumination, insight, or a connection with the self, like the Jungian self, so the totality of the psyche, including both conscious and unconscious aspects. So you can think of it as like self with a capital S. And it might also be sort of like, it indicates that it might be overwhelming since it's kind of blinding and it's encompassing, and I had to stop and assess. So there's kind of a feeling of overwhelm in this. So it could be like a moment of numinous significance, so like transcendent significance, where a powerful force is trying to break through to my awareness, my conscious awareness. So since I can still see the road and other cars despite this light, it shows that the illumination doesn't completely disrupt my ability to navigate life. I'm still able to be somewhat in the material world, although there is this deeply transformative force ahead of me, and now sort of being integrated. So because it was kind of confusing and I felt like the light was both touching me and encompassing me and maybe everyone, but also kind of there was a distance. So it might suggest that the experience that I'm having is significant, but it's not fully integrated yet. So I'm kind of maybe like deciding, I wasn't really deciding what to do in the dream. I was just kind of curious and trying to figure things out. So it seems like part of my psyche is aware of this illuminating experience, but not all of my psyche. So the bright light, I think, can symbolize so many things. It's definitely a symbol of illumination. It could be an encounter with the collective unconscious or with archetypal forces, or even like specifically, like maybe that doesn't make so much sense, but I'm thinking like the archetype of God, or like divine wisdom or source or something like that, because we usually imagine like angels or God and like a bright white light, or maybe that's just me. So it seems kind of exciting. And because I decided to like calmly pull over and step out of the car, it reflects a moment of reflection or hesitation. There's no resistance, there's no fear. I'm just curious. So but it suggests that it's a powerful force that's kind of mysterious, even though it's illuminating. There's a really interesting symbol in the Kabbalah, the Zohar, that is repeated throughout, and it's called like this illuminating darkness, or this spark of dark. It's not exactly the right, I can't really remember it, but it's something like that, and I just like think that's the coolest thing. I don't know if that's what this is, but it just reminded me of it. So I feel like because I'm, calm and curious, it shows that I'm willing to stop and observe, or that I should be like open to whatever is coming. And I'm stepping out of my driving role to look at the larger situation, trying to understand what I'm looking at or experiencing. So I think that that's important. I also think it's interesting that there are other people on the road, and that I have a big part of this because it's a short dream. So I would say a substantial percentage, even though it was quick, of this dream is concern for others. Maybe I feel sort of like responsible, that the insider illumination is not just an individual one, but a collective one. So I think that could indicate community, or since I am the only one who has pulled over, and I'm sort of hoping that other people do for their own safety, it might indicate that I have this desire to help others in realizing, whatever this illumination is. So I also want to comment on after the dream when I woke up, because I think it's interesting that there's still, and sometimes I do, very rarely, but sometimes I do wake up and the part of the dream, like a feeling or impact of the dream, is still with me. And so since I still saw the bright light with my eyes closed, and I know, like, if you're more medically minded, you might say, no, that's actually an issue or a problem. But I'm like looking at this completely in a metaphysical, spiritual way. So that's, my choice. The Kabbalah also, the Kabbalists, the writers of the Kabbalah also say that it is very important, even though I do invite your thoughts on interpreting my dream. And I'm putting them out there publicly, so that just like, sets me up for that, maybe. But they say that it is actually really important to be careful about who you let interpret your dreams, because something like and this is also like in the the Zohar is a commentary on the Bible. I remember it specifically from my like Old Testament Hebrew scripture readings. I think it's about like the story of Joseph. But if someone interprets your dream, then that interpretation like comes true or can be true. And I think it just, implies the responsibility of storytelling. Once we hear something, might become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then we can't like unknow it or think about it unless we, detach from it somehow. So I don't know. I just want to mention that. I think that's interesting. So yeah, I'm just putting it out there. So I feel like obviously this is like like the dream has intense energy, that it lasts in my transition. It remains in my transition from the dream world to waking life. So, it suggests that the light isn't just a dream symbol, but it's a real encounter with something very significant that is in my conscious and unconscious life and psyche. So it's the lingering presence maybe of the archetypal energy, as if it is actually in real time breaking through my conscious awareness. So I would love to hear from you if you've ever had this experience of a feeling or a thought, even if it was like, seemingly like negative or something, that it bleeds into your immediate conscious world. And I think that like I was calm in the dream, but I was also calm when I woke up. Like I didn't think that this blinding light that I could see even with my eyes closed, I just kept my eyes closed. I didn't feel like it was threatening or anything. I kind of like welcomed it and thought it was kind of cool. So I don't know. But beyond that, I wouldn't say that I was aware of any sort of conscious like enlightenment or difference. Like it did last 10 seconds or maybe 5 slow seconds after waking, but then after that I kind of just went on with my day. So nothing that I could see really mystical happened, but it's interesting to reflect on this. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Sweet dreams.